All right, it's Tuesday night. We're back with another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs, and we decided to bring Tom back on again because there are a few interesting moves with his team and a few others, and I guess we kind of like him a little bit, like talking with him. So why not bring him back on? And this, we were actually going to go through the second half of the rosters, but there were some new developments within college hockey this past week.
Yeah, Arizona State decided to be some big cheater pantses and sign pro
Hey,
players.
hey, hey, hey. I
You're
was
not the
about to
only
thank
ones.
Mike for the kind words, but then you chimed in.
Listen, I understand in your first season, you're like, oh, look at us. We're second place. We got to find a way to get that first. And we're going to do it by cheating and using our big, fat knowledge or name recognition from being in a Power 5 conference in football. Let's see how it is.
Hey, can you blame us if the guys go through the clearinghouse and they're approved by the NCAA?
Yes, because your coach made a big fat exception for one player who was the brother of a player who was previously on the team, and if it had been anybody else, they wouldn't have done it.
I just wanted an extra year of Noah Beck, and we get the next best thing in his brother Jack.
Just saying.
And Wes, I'm just gonna say it's not the Power Five reputation that attracts hockey players.
I'm aware.
There, there
Well,
is a lot.
let me tell you, there's about 42 other factors that attract people to ASU more than hockey.
I am aware.
And there's a certain factor that you could potentially double.
All right.
I'm sorry, the a couple weeks ago the NAHL is starting up here. There's a team just down the road. And you could definitely pick out the hockey players and who they were going after. So yeah, that my mind is a little bit on that.
Well, Sun Devil Hockey today on Twitter just put out a video of the guys playing beach volleyball, which I think would have been better timed for in January and February, just to say, hey, up in your area, it's snowing and you're freezing your tuchuses off. You could be doing this right now.
Well, they can do that
Yeah.
when they go and visit and then beat your team, and then it's fine.
I'm sorry, who gave you guys your first loss in NCHC play last year?
In regulation, it's fine. Settle down, okay? And half the team was sick. So I think there's
I was
also.
like excuses.
I'm not making excuses. I'm just pointing out
I,
facts
I've,
that
I've got this for you.
Didn't it? No, that one didn't go to overtime. The second game went to overtime.
Second game did, yep, and you guys got the better end on that one.
Yeah, you guys scored a lucky empty net goal at the end of that first game. That was stupid. It should have never happened.
Don't pull your goalie then.
I mean, I wish we hadn't, but let's just be real. That was a stupid. I don't even understand how that goal happened. That's beside the point. We're on this season, all right? Last year's done and over with. Yes, we're the defending champions of all the trophies that are able to be earned by NCHC teams. It's beside the point now. It's irrelevant come 2 weeks from Saturday as we hunt for new trophies. But no, definitely Arizona State's not the only team that has made use of this new rule. I guess sort of an old rule, depends on which part of the rule they're using. Bemidji State has also taken advantage of it. To some degree, Omaha has taken advantage of it.
Quinnipiac as well.
Quinnipiac, but I think the biggest name is definitely back with ASU and had the most quote unquote pro experience, playing a full season in the ECHL, playing 4 games at the AHL in the Pens organization, and actually re-signing with the Pens organization this summer, and then deciding to opt out of that deal and take the step to NCAA hockey.
And that's really the move that got everybody talking and got people wondering, how is this eligibility even possible? Why is this allowed to happen? He's played on a professional contract that should nullify his amateur status. And I don't think, all of the details are still fully known as far as what the process going forward is going to be. But here's my interpretation of what's been happening. Beck the two Bemidji guys, Quinnipiacs, everybody who has been approved for eligibility through this rule was on an ATO last year when they were playing with their various teams. And on an ATO, obviously you still get paid a stipend for living expenses, and there's a sliding scale based on the team's market and other various factors. When you start seeing a guy that's been paid about $60,000 on that ATO, you start to scratch your head and wonder how that comes to be. NCAA has some sort of formula, I'll use that loosely in quotes,
Well, I thought
and the coaches don't have access to that. It really comes down to throwing something at the wall and hoping that it sticks. And in these cases, the players have passed through the clearinghouse and have been approved, and it's sticking for now. They're being approved under what's known as the 21-year-old rule, which is NCAA bylaw 12.8.3.5 for anybody who wants to go and read through it line by line. But these guys, they are, you are going to see some loss of eligibility with these guys. Beck comes to ASU with only 3 seasons of eligibility and will sit out the first 6 games of the season as a delayed enrollment penalty. Some are calling it a suspension. I don't see it as a suspension. I see it as a logical trade-off for coming to the team so late at the start of the season after term has already started, and it's something that we can just live with.
Yeah, and I think that's where the misconception is everyone just assumes that, and you're based on, I mean, a lot of this comes from what you think applies across all sports, right? So hockey has existed on an island as far as what's admissible or inadmissible, and the other sports haven't. Like baseball, if you're drafted, you can turn down the draft selection and go play college baseball. In basketball, if you were drafted, you could have been drafted out of high school. Then it was you have to play 1 year of college basketball, and then you could declare for the draft. If you declared for the draft, your eligibility was over. Like even if you declared and you didn't have to be drafted. Yeah, you nullified the rest of your eligibility. In football, you had to play at least 2 years. Same rules. Once you declared for the draft, you're no longer eligible to play college football. Basketball has taken a step back where you still have to be here in college at least 1 year, but now you can declare for the draft without an agent and still be eligible to return to a team, I believe. But if you sign with an agent, you're no longer eligible to return. And college hockey, as we know, you can be drafted. They say you don't have an agent, but there's advisors and all these other backdoor ways of getting around some of this nonsense that everyone knows about, but no one says anything about that happens. And it's some of how we figure out some of the backsides of the transfer portal, how guys are signing at schools 2 days after they enter the transfer portal, the week between the regional finals and the national championship games. So for hockey, it's, and if you're drafted, your rights are good for 4 years. If you leave any time in there, that team that drafted you has basically the right of first refusal. They can sign you to an ECL, or they can choose not to and give up your rights or trade you or do whatever, they can do with any other player under contract, basically. So I think that's created some of the confusion, because you think guys leave and they sign ECLs and now they're gone and done. Alex Bump this year, he signed with Philly. He's giving up his last 2 years to go play pro hockey. At least that's the assumption made. So it looks like they're trying to do, or at least it looks like there were some additional loopholes that maybe weren't as well known, and they're now being used, and or rules are changing because we constantly see the NCAA lose court cases and open more rights to players, like the CHL rule, name, image, likeness, and it's been a constant change of the college landscape the last few years.
That's what it comes down to as well for the NCAA is this is another highly litigious situation that they're going to find themselves in, that they're not going to fight to get into this fight. They will just kind of let things roll along until somebody makes a big enough stink and brings it to court. Like, they're not going to fight to defend whatever position they are on, which I think is really unfortunate. It's classic reactive versus proactive on the side of the NCAA.
Yeah.
And
But
I think
the
I think
other
for me, at least, the NIL stuff has changed the complete landscape. Now, yeah, my freshman year was 15 years ago when I played, but when we talked about what you could do, it was, I think, now this is tennis in Division 3, but it was $5,000. Like if you made $5,000 playing tennis, then you lose your amateur status. But things have changed so much now. It's a really weird situation.
Yeah, so it looks like the way they, or what the rule they're using is, this is from Yahoo Sports. Let's see if I can find the actual. Pro hockey players taking advantage of new NCAA eligibility requirements. This is from Andy Glass, Saturday, September 20th, 2025. He inserts the college bylaw 1202, 12.02.4a. As of August 21st, 2025, professional hockey players maintain their NCAA eligibility provided they have not been compensated beyond actual and necessary expenses. This means the professional player cannot receive a salary, but can receive stipend covering meals, lodging, apparel, and equipment, coaching and instruction, health and medical insurance, transportation, medical treatment, and physical therapy, facility usage, entry fees, and other reasonable expenses. So essentially, they're saying that Beck did not make enough to be outside what the average college player is granted.
He didn't sign a contract to make that salary in a sense of what the costs would be.
Basically, yeah, I guess so. And the average ECH, so if you played a full year of ECHL, the average salary for an ECHL player is between $10,000 and $20,000 for the season. So really, not much more than an average, depending on what school, year's worth of tuition. At least it's what it seems like if you're looking at certain schools and in-state versus out-of-state and all that other stuff that goes into determining what tuition is and class per hours and all that stuff. So compensationally, he probably wasn't much off of what he would have been earning at ASU last year. If you want to look at how they're grading what compensation or earned income is there, I guess. So that's part of it.
And then here's the other misconception that a lot of people are hypothesizing about this whole situation is these guys have already played in college, left early, and started playing in the minors, decided, what, I can't cut it here. I'm going to go back to college and use the rest of my eligibility. That's not what's happening here. Looking at Jack Beck in particular, he played 4 years in the OHL between Ottawa and the Sioux before getting on with Wilkes-Barre, the AHL, and Wheeling in the ECHL for his 40 games last year, and now enters Arizona State in his first year of collegiate play. So, same thing with Connor McLennan. Played with Winnipeg in the WHL before playing with Chicago and Norfolk in the minors. Actually played a couple of years of U Sports at the University of Alberta. U Sports and NCAA are not created equal, but there's still some formula that equates how long a player has played at U Sports and how that translates to remaining eligibility for the NCAA. Hudson Thornton also going to Bemidji, no collegiate experience in U Sports, only time in the WHL before going to Hershey and South Carolina and Orlando in the minors. So, these guys aren't former college athletes who have signed their ATOs and are now coming back to college. This is first time collegiate players that we're seeing come in from the ECHL ranks.
Yeah, and I think.
And I think.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead,
go ahead,
Mike.
Wes. Oh,
I was,
I was gonna say, I think this is kind of like you get kids that are draft picks out of the CHL, and they come up and I think is it like 7 games, something like that, where it's 7 games they can play with their pro team. The only reason this sticks in my mind is because Matt Dumba, his quote unquote rookie year, he came up and he could play 6 or 7 games, and he played those, and the Wild were like, "Yeah, you're not quite ready yet. Go back to he was a Portland Winterhawk. Go back to Portland, play the rest of that, and then if he still didn't feel like he was ready, he could still come and play here." It's a change from what it was when he started because now he's been in the league for I don't know 10 years or something like that. But it's that same mindset where you can go get a taste of it, but that organization might be like, yeah, you're still not quite there. We want you to have a little more seasoning on you before you're ready to put on the grill and get with the new team.
what I was going to say before that was just that Omaha also has a couple guys who I think played U Sports after CHL time and have a little bit of pro experience. Aiden De La Gorgandiri, something like that. I don't know. He had 10 games in the ECHL, and Mark LaJoy had 1 game of AHL experience. So, a couple more guys in the NCHC who have gone this pro to NCAA route. But I think like what Mike was talking about is kind of a fear that programs have potentially, or at least exploring, is that we've heard coaches say like we're not taking input from NHL teams when we're trying to recruit players, or you're hoping that it wasn't necessarily the Ducks who got into Sam Colangelo's ear and were like, hey, go to Western for your last year, like leave Northeastern, go to Western for your last year. Is that happening? Could be, but it's when you look at guys having 7 games in pros and then potentially coming, I don't think we're going to see that per se, where they're starting their season in the ECHL, NHL, or AHL, and then being like, oh yeah, hey, it's not working out here, go back to college. I think they're still going to go back to that CHL route. But if they if they age out of the CHL, like if that's their last season, and a team's like, hey, so we're not quite ready to call you back up, then we might see some of that more jump to the NCAA from the CHL that way, though.
And here's the other thing with these guys as well is, at least in the case of Jack Beck and Connor McLennan, they weren't playing for affiliates of the teams that originally drafted them. Hudson Thornton wasn't drafted, but so I won't reference his history, but McLennan was drafted by the Philadelphia Flyers in 2020 when he started playing for Chicago Wolves and Norfolk Admirals. Norfolk is the ECHL affiliate of the Winnipeg Jets, and you know, there's no direct connection there. Jack Beck, drafted in 2021 by the Flames, did not sign with them, started playing with the Penguins affiliates. So if there was more, if they were playing for the organization that drafted them, I would have a little bit more issue with it. But these guys, their draft rights have expired. Their teams either just declined to sign them, or it just simply expired. So I don't have an issue with them playing for somebody who didn't originally draft them
And
and then coming to college.
the other thing I see a lot too is this: oh, these pro guys are taking somebody's spot. And at least for ASU, my assumption is that once Cole Spicer had left the University of Arizona State University, the university that he was signed to before he transferred to Western, Arizona State was going to run 25 guys. You guys were not going back up to your limit of 26 scholarships under the House bill that I believe ASU opted into, limiting their roster size at 26. Except this year, there's still that weird exception rule. If guys were already on the team like last year, they could still be on the team with exception, which I think is how Western's getting away with 28. Cole Spicer being one of those exception guys because he was technically in college hockey when that rule was passed or whatever. But I think you guys. What?
I believe Western would have had to opt into that House settlement because
they did.
You guys are an FBS program,
yeah.
Same as ASU.
Yeah, so we opted in.
I'm pretty sure Dan told us that.
Yeah, he told us before it was that they were going to, before it was 100% determined what it was, because they kept changing over the summer too as to what was going to be. What they made. There's players under exception. Like I said, if they were already in college at the time and they still had eligibility on, they were allowed to sign with teams even if the teams opted in or whatever. So I think that's how they're getting away with Ryan Humphreys, who joined the team late last year and did not play but could potentially play this year, and then Cole Spicer, the late addition to the roster, which I think puts Western at 28 total roster spots. But you guys, I think we're going to run 25 after Spicer left, and the opportunity presented itself that and the university had a relationship based on Noah being there last year and it seeming to be a good fit. So it wasn't like ASU had called a kid up from the USHL or the CHL and was like, hey, we have a roster spot. Do you want to be a late addition to the team? They were like, nope, our roster's set. Cool, we're going to run it. Oh, hey, this presented itself, and we're not kicking somebody off the team. So there's a weird thing that like, oh, these guys are taking players' spots. And again, at least in Arizona State, so that wasn't the issue. There was a spot there. Arizona State seemed fine with running with one less player. The opportunity presented itself. They signed.
And I think the other thing too is people are looking at it where these guys have been playing in the ECHL for a couple of years, like more than 2. That's not the case.
Yeah.
They got the taste of it. These are not 28, 29-year-olds that still had college eligibility left that are coming back. These are kids that are, 20, 21. They maybe went, maybe 24 because of how hockey works. But they're not with the team, like you said, Tom. They go, they play a couple things. I've still got eligibility left. Let me go home my craft. I don't have an issue with that. You have a lot more experience, but
and if the CHL rule had passed a year before, it could have been guys who would have come to the CHL or to NCAA from the CHL instead of going to the ECHL, which I think is also a little bit of what the leniency is on some of these players too, is like they could have wanted to do that, but they were already ineligible because of the CHL rule that had been changed. So there's kind of a retrospective look back period type thing that there's always an exception to the rule once the rule is made to allow guys who are in like that weird window some opportunities that maybe other guys don't get. Hell, we just got done with COVID and guys playing 5 years when that wasn't the norm. Or that one player, where does he play? I think Miami in football, who's on like his 8th year of eligibility, and he's like a 29-year-old lineman or some nonsense.
No, the Gophers had some dude in basketball, but yeah, it's not like when we went to the Chicago Wolves game against the Texas Stars, and Anton Khudobin is playing goalie for the Texas Stars. It's not like he's coming back to college. It's like, okay, all right, you are an NHL goalie.
Well, and again, I think it's this weird spot that college hockey exists in too, because you look at some of the younger guys. Some guys, Pat Ferschweiler is an example. He was originally at UMD. His first year did not go as he had hoped it would have. I think either by the middle of the year or after the first season, he goes back to the USHL for a year and then goes to Western for 3 years or whatever it ended up being. Like, guys go down a level all the time. It's even if you want to look at the pro ranks, like yes, they're in the pro ranks, but there's guys who maybe they play a season at the AHL and that the team goes, all right, well maybe you're not quite at this level. We're going to send you back to the ECHL, and they move guys all around. I mean, how many times has our buddy Trevor been bumped by a goalie coming back down a level? So the levels change all the time, and there's a lot of movement, and it's a weird thing to be like, there's only so many spots available, and I get it. But not everyone is entitled to those spots either. Like, it's an earned thing. And sometimes a team would rather go with nobody than the top 5 dudes available because they don't seem like they're a good fit. And when the one guy comes along, they give him the spot. It sucks to be everybody else. I don't know what to tell you. But you're not promised that spot or entitled to that spot. And it's going to get taken by somebody.
Hockey and baseball are, I think, football and basketball, they're the most comparable for the college sports. And then baseball and hockey are also very comparable because you have different paths to get where you are.
Yeah.
And yet you look at Paul Skeens. The dude pitched like what he had 9 starts in the minor leagues, and then he's with the Pirates. You have guys that grind it out until they're 28, 29 in single A, double A. That's the same thing with hockey. You have guys that grind it out in E, and then they go to the A. And eventually, by the time they're 30 years old, they might finally crack the lineup. And it makes it fun because there's also different paths. You have the guys that go to college. You have the guys that are drafted internationally that are immediately signed to pro contracts. Same thing with hockey. They might have been playing pro in a different country, Sweden, Finland, Russia, wherever. Then they sign a pro contract here. I like that aspect of just the dynamics versus, okay, college football, you play 3 years, then you're drafted. Or in the case of the Vikings, we love our undrafted free agents. College basketball, you play a year, if you're good enough, you're drafted. But baseball and hockey, you can go CHL, NCAA, international. You can get drafted, and I don't remember the cutoff, but there's a wide range of paths to be drafted by a team.
Yeah. And I think that's what led us to the question I'll now present to Tom that you sort of transitioned us into. What do you think, a more likely to happen? Say the national championship college hockey team could beat a bottom 3rd ECHL team, or the College World Series championship baseball team could beat a bottom 3rd AA team.
I would give the edge to national champion hockey team. I just think that college baseball teams are much too raw, and given the longer progression for the majority of minor league baseball players, I think hockey players that the hockey players that do come out of college and join the pro ranks, I think they are on a faster track to climb the professional ladder. I would think that in this case, Western, I think they could beat a bottom 3rd tier ECHL team.
See, I said college hockey too, and I'll even go one step further that I think we kind of almost see this every year when the college teams play the U.S. development team, and the U.S. development team gives every college team a pretty good run for their money, including stealing a couple games from, I don't know, a potential top tier college team in North Dakota a couple years ago when they were in the middle of one of their runs and the development team came and stole a game. Or even look at what happened last year with Denver, a team that made it to the Frozen Four. They lost a game to a club team in UNLV. Was it UNLV? Yeah.
Yeah.
who then went on to lose to Colorado College. But it just seems like I would give it to the hockey teams too.
I think there's more parity across hockey than there is in
Yeah.
baseball as well.
Well, and I think
I think my argument for baseball was, though, if you have one good pitcher, like if you get the Paul Skeens College World Series year and he pitches his best game, one of those 9 games that he pitched before going to the majors, you might have a shot at it. But it feels way more lopsided. If there was a series, I would give it to the pro team. But if it was a series,
I'll counter with this question for the baseball hypothetical: aluminum or wooden bats?
I think you have to go. I think wooden bats makes it a little closer, because if you give aluminum bats to pro dudes, they're smoking that ball. And a lot of summer leagues will use wooden bats. So there are college guys who are used to wooden bats if they've played summer ball in like the Northwoods League.
That's what I was going to say. Like a lot of the college kids that are, no offense to the other guys, but are worth a damn. They're playing the summer league. Wes and I both were Northwoods League.
I've seen the Cape League over the years as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to be doing that. And then with baseball, yeah, you might have a Paul Skeens on the mound, but the counter to that is, what does your lineup look like? Because say you have like a Mike Trout hitting fourth.
Healthy or
injured? Well, there's that. But healthy, I would use Byron Buxton, but this is the first healthy season he's had. But are there guys on base in front of him that he can produce those runs versus this AA team that the guys can at least produce hits no matter really how good the pitcher is?
Yeah.
Where hockey, the goalies are good, the players are good, but there's so many awkward bounces that can happen throughout a game where it's not a pitcher just throwing. There's more control in baseball, where hockey, there are a lot of other things that can happen that throughout the game. Just weird bounces. We've seen it all the time.
Oh yeah.
My nod is to hockey.
I think hockey is definitely a closer game for sure, and it feels more doable on the hockey side, because like I said, there's examples of teams quote unquote lower that'll steal a game if you're not paying attention.
Miami and UMD.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I say lower third, because there's guys in both basically AA leagues. I'm calling the AA minors of baseball the AA minors of baseball, and making the equivalency to the ECHL, because that feels about right.
Yeah, that's the way I do it.
But there's guys who have made a career out of playing at those leagues and have been there for a much longer time than any college player has been in with their college team. So the experience factor is there. But there's also guys in both of those college teams that could sign with the pros the day their seasons are over too. There's such a wide range of talent and work ethic on both of those teams that it's a fun thought experiment to see to put them together, because everyone knows, like, even though everyone wants to try and say it, like, oh, that Alabama team that won the national championship in 2017 could have beat the 0-16 Lions, and everyone who's played pro football is like, not a chance in hell.
Completely different.
Yeah,
completely different styles.
Yeah, but I think you could almost do that comparison, or have those games between baseball and hockey, and get competitive games that would be worth watching more so than anybody watching that football game or even a basketball game of the same type.
Yeah, there's no chance that a national champion basketball team would compete, because, And the rosters
even
are
against the
much smaller.
12-win Detroit Pistons. The 12-win Detroit Pistons are still taking that game.
Yeah, and the other thing is the rosters are so much smaller.
Yeah.
So the talent pool, if you think about it,
Shrinks.
it's condensed.
Yeah.
It's just the haves and the have-nots, but all of them are. There's what 60 picks in the NBA draft, and maybe half of them
Are worth a damn.
make it onto a roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the top heavy picks, you don't really hear a lot about the second round guys.
No. And yeah, you have good guys that come out of the second round, like obviously the Joker, Tony Parker. There are gems in there, but for the most part, it ain't good.
All right.
You
And
see the realm of my basketball knowledge, I couldn't even tell you what round the Joker was drafted in.
Yeah, I think he was number 54. I think.
My ASU Nuggets fans are cursing at me right now.
and I think the only other kind of big news, other than we're less than 2 weeks away from the start of the season, is that the NCHC released a new secondary logo to honor the fact that they're moving to 10 teams next season when St. Thomas joins. And we welcome back Coach Federico Blasi back to the NCHC, who was part of the inaugural season here when he was head coach of Miami.
Mike loves the new logo. I can tell. His facial reaction just says it all.
Mm-hmm.
I might be the only one on here that likes it and is completely fine with it. I do not hate it one bit. In fact, I kind of like it.
I mean, like I'm on the fence, like where you're so far in favor of it and Mike is so far against it. I tread the middle. I like I'm a big fan of symbols, and I do like I like the like I both like and hate the hidden 10 in the logo. Like,
I mean, can we really
yeah,
say it's hidden? It is front and center in a different color.
hidden 10.
The
But,
hockey sticks are more hidden than the 10.
but it's obviously reflective of next year's expansion. Um, what what I just don't really get is the emphasis on national, and they're in first, from what I'm gathering, in first reference it will, the conference will still be referred to as the NCHC, and then all further references and publications will just be known as the national. What makes the NCHC more national than they already are with the addition of St. Thomas is my question.
So I think you may have been on your other show that you participate on, which feel free to name here.
College hockey coast to coast.
I was going to say, wow.
With our, I don't
like, we don't
remember
hate him.
No, with our other buddy Paul Hornstein, who's been on numerous times, and you guys both contribute to that and do a great job over there. But I believe Commissioner Weems put out, because there's no actual physical media day this year. It was all virtual, so they're releasing some of the videos. An interview with Coach Frischweiler just went live on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or wherever. And I believe also one went up with Commissioner Weems kind of going over this. And it was a multiple point thing. One, they want to emphasize, yes, that there's 10 teams going to be in the conference. Two is that they are coast to coast, with the addition of Arizona State taking up, depending on what time of the year it is, 3 to 4 different time zones. And it's really a nationwide college hockey conference. And also a slight play at the fact that since its inception and in the last 9 seasons, the conference has won 7 national championships. They are the national standard as far as college hockey goes right now, and it's hard to argue otherwise. And so they're capitalizing on that with their new branding. And to me, the 10 is a slight jab at the Big Ten Conference, who decided that, they were entitled to their own hockey conference and destroyed 2 solid conferences to create the Big Ten, which has been subpar. Yes, getting to some Frozen Fours, but losing in the semifinals and not being able to win a national championship. Meanwhile,
Quinnipiac,
yeah,
10-7.
yeah. I
I
mean,
love that one. That made me so happy.
I mean, not like I was in attendance for that one. That was pretty special to see.
Meanwhile, the NCHC has even had a couple of NCHC only national championship games.
Denver and UMD in 2017 comes to mind.
Yep. So I think
Don't remind me of that one.
So I think there's
I
a
was
little.
there for that
sorry, is that
one.
his first spot?
I was there.
And
Also was I.
And I mean, multiple teams in the Frozen Four, not just playing for the national championship, but even this year, it was a down year for the NCHC as far as non-conference competition went, and yet 50% of the Frozen Four was NCHC teams who had to go against each other to get to that final game that Western ended up winning. But Western and Denver both competing. Denver having 3 championships since the inception of the NCHC. Yes.
17, 22, and 24.
Yeah.
Yep.
UMD having 2. North
18,
Dakota.
19.
North Dakota having
16.
16. Yeah.
Yep, 16.
St. Cloud State making a Frozen final. And Western having 1. Who am I missing?
I think that's it. It's 7 titles in the last years.
Yeah. Yeah, UMD has 2, North Dakota has 1, Denver has 3, Western has 1.
Yep.
So, it's all of those things that they're trying to stamp with the NCHC name and logo and calling it the national. At least that's what I got from her statements.
Yep, I was on for her statements when media day opened, and I understand all the statements that it'll just take an adjustment to really get used to seeing it.
Yeah. And I don't know that it's ever supposed to necessarily be the primary logo. I think they're still running with the original NCHC. Yeah,
it's
secondary
clearly
logo.
stated as the secondary logo, secondary branding.
Yeah, so I don't know how much we'll see of it really, but like I honestly don't hate it. I think it's clean. I think it pays a solid tribute to the original. The 1 star representing the previous 8 that were on the original logo.
I just
we could have gotten a 9th star when ASU joined, but that's just me.
It's always meant to represent the original 8 teams, okay?
For me, it just feels too gimmicky. It's like they're trying too hard. You've established this conference as the NCHC, which was its given name, National Collegiate Hockey Conference. That's fine. You have 7 out of the 9 national championships over the last 9 years. What are you thinking you're going to gain by doing this secondary logo and trying to be like the national? Who cares? Nobody's going to call you that. It's like Camp Snoopy becoming Nickelodeon University at the Mall of America. XL Energy Center is now Grand Casino Arena. It's always going to be the X. It's they're trying too hard, and then the 10 is more representative of the conference than the Big Ten is, but why? It's been done before. I just don't understand what their goal is here to have this secondary naming. I would love to know what they think they're going to gain from it, because to me, the national just sounds like some BBC program. It's stupid.
I will say this in support of Mike. I don't see Hockey East adding a secondary branding of just East. anytime soon.
Well, it would just be hockey. All right, it wouldn't be Hockey East or just East because it is the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. But I don't know. I think it's NCHC is kind of a I know it's 4 letters, but sometimes they get caught up a little bit, and the national just rolls and is cleaner. I think it's
technically it's only 3 letters.
That's the argument between numbers and digits. Okay, shut your face. It's 4 letters. It's an acronym made up of 3 distinct letters, but it's 4 letters.
I felt the burning gaze through my screen, and it wasn't even directed at me.
Hate you so much. I don't even remember what I was. You just filled me full of hate and rage, and I don't remember where I was going. You have derailed the train. But just
you were saying it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's
sometimes then the words get jumbled.
But I think it's simpler, and there's no real good nickname for. I mean, the NCHC had like 85 nicknames. Dave Starman called it the Nacho. I think we always said the whole thing, or we said the NCHC. The only thing that they're missing is some sort of national broadcast. That's not NCHC TV, but again, I like it. I don't hate it whatsoever, and I think it potentially gives room for more expansion because you can kind of play with it a little more, and maybe it's a little easier to play with. Unlike the NCHC logo, which when Arizona State came in, there was discussion of whether they were going to add a 9th star or not, and they said no. We're going to run with the original logo. We're going to keep it to the 8 teams. That's how we came in. That's how the logo is. But this one you can kind of manipulate a little bit more. If I don't know, if an 11th team is added, maybe you change the straight bar in the T to a 1 and you lose the emphasis on the O. I don't know. Or you make the ones the 2 bars on the N.
And then I could see teams being able to do branded colorways with the new logo as well, changing up the 10 to reflect their school's colors. Green for North Dakota, maroon and gold for ASU, et cetera, and so forth.
Because I think I might be wrong here, but I think the only team so far that I have seen use the colorway branded NCHC logos is Colorado College on their new jerseys. I know Western's still running the red, white, and blue ones. I think North Dakota is still running the red, white, and blue ones.
Not on the jerseys, but at least in some digital logoing, there's been NCHC logos in school colorways. I know ASU is.
Yeah, I've seen them on the websites or the branded pages on NCHC.TV. I've seen them there, but as far as on the on jersey patches in the colorways, I think Colorado College is the one school who so far has made use of that rule change, that they could use them on the patches. So maybe we'll see more of that, or with some third jerseys, maybe they'll switch out the patches and we'll see more colorways, changing the background to like the secondary color or the background color, and the 10 to whatever accent color the schools have or something. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the teams do with them, because I honestly don't like the colorwayed original NCHC patches or displays. They look, maybe it's just because it's not done a whole lot, but they look off.
No, I'm pretty sure if you want me to go fight them, I think their headquarters is not too far from where I work. So
whose?
Can pop down there.
Whose?
NCHC.
Their headquarters is in Colorado Springs.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but maybe they did everything.
It's closer to me than it is to you.
Yeah,
but it might have been the WCHA then.
Yeah, their main office, the one with like all the championship teams on the wall and stuff, is in Colorado Springs. But they did everything in Minnesota because it was except put their headquarters there for some reason.
I thought it was here at least for. I think they moved it, but I thought it was here for at least a little bit. But
maybe at inception, but
yeah, I think it might have been in like Eden Prairie.
Yeah, my recollections, it's always been in Colorado Springs, because I remember going, Why would you do that and then continue to have your media day, your big tournament, all of your real big kind of promotional stuff in Minnesota? Why not just leave the headquarters in Minnesota if everything's centrally located? You're doing everything else there, and it's in the middle of everything.
There are some things that they do that don't make any sense. Damn it, now I had 2 points. Forgot what they were. And one was with Tom, and one was with you.
Well,
Um,
you didn't like the new logo, and then I don't know what your point was.
I know that.
Well, while Mike's thinking on that, I've got
Uh,
a walk-in topic to bring up.
Okay.
The new batch of Friendship 4 tournaments announced today, and Minnesota Duluth will be the NCHC representative in the 2026 edition. Mike, you booking your airfare for Belfast?
Wait, is that the one we
God,
knew?
I would love to. If I was with my ex-girlfriend, definitely would be gone.
Wait, did they announce more than one?
Yeah, the 2026 through 2028 were announced. The other
okay.
NCAA teams playing will be North Dakota in 2027 and Omaha in 2028.
Okay, that's what it was. I didn't see the only reason I saw the 2028 one was because of Brent. I think it was Miami this year.
Yep.
Minnesota Duluth next year, North Dakota, then Omaha. Got it.
And Minnesota Duluth, I mean, technically, I don't think Duluth is west of the Mississippi, but at least in this batch, we are getting the first teams from west of the Mississippi for the Friendship 4.
We are not west of the Mississippi.
I think St. Cloud is just barely. St. Cloud State. I think it depends on which side. No, I think they are. I think they're just west because
I think so.
we crossed the Mississippi River like 85 times when we were going over there, and it
Yeah.
runs like right through St. Cloud.
Yeah, it's like right down the center.
When it comes to Minnesota, anything north of the Twin Cities, forget it.
Yeah, I think
call that the range.
I think the ice arena is on the west side of the Mississippi River.
Hang on, I got it up. Hang on.
I know it trickles out somewhere in northern Minnesota, but no idea where.
Ice arena. The ice arena is west of the Mississippi by about
3 feet.
Yeah.
That is a very low estimation. It is quite a bit more than that, but basically. It is a stone's throw away. I know that for sure.
No, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
I've just usually been there when it's dark, so don't realize that there is a river running right through there.
Yeah, well, we went to get food, and then I have to be, some dude who has to paint his face, and that takes time, so I usually get there a little bit early so I can get the car at the right temperature so it doesn't melt as I'm doing it. There's layers to this, Michael.
Oh, well, I at least remembered the point I was going to make to Tom with the rebranding to the national. I agree with you that why didn't they do it when ASU joined? Because that was the time to do it when you actually became a national conference, at least half the year for time zone's sake. It seems weird to do it now where it's like, oh, it's St. Thomas. Yes, we have the 10 teams, but now putting that national logo out there, yes, it was the National Collegiate Hockey Conference West. I know that's what you were thinking.
No.
But to just put that name out there, it doesn't quite make sense. It's like, oh, hey, another Minnesota team adding 3, and then North Dakota is basically 4.
I think it literally just came down to the fact that they could accent the 10 in national. Is why they didn't do it beforehand. Also, is ASU in Mountain Time during hockey season, or are they Pacific Time during hockey season?
I could do an entire dissertation on time in Arizona. We are year-round Mountain Standard Time. We do not observe daylight saving time,
That doesn't
but
answer my question because you change time zones when one of them changes
no,
time zones.
no, no, we do not change time zones. The rest of the country changes around us. But for all intents and purposes, for the majority of hockey season, we are
No one cares.
No, I
we
do
are
care.
on,
Shut up, Michael.
for all intents and purposes, we are on the same time as Colorado for most of hockey season. Usually the
Okay.
first Sunday in November through the first or second Sunday in March.
Yeah, so there's only there's what, like 3 weeks where it's technically in 4 time zones.
Yep.
All right, that's really what I was getting to. We're still only in 3 freaking time zones for the majority of the hockey season.
Yeah, the month of October and then postseason tournament in
If
March and
it,
April.
yeah,
It's really about
if it changed depending on when it changes and when the tournament is, because it's usually like
They
near
were
the end
going
of
for the
March.
low hanging fruit. That, hey, one of our schools might be in a different time zone at some point during the year.
Yeah,
We're gonna claim this as our own.
yeah, because right now we are an hour behind the Colorado schools.
okay.
But the first Sunday in November we will be on the same time zone as them, or same time as them.
To be fair, I did know that Arizona State did not actually change their clocks, but I knew that their time change or their alignment with other time zones changed depending on the time of year.
Yeah, the official timing nomenclature is year-round Mountain Standard Time.
Which is the fall time of. Yes, we're getting ready to go into standard time. See, that's another
Yes.
thing that people mess up is daylight savings time is the summertime, and standard time is the fall time.
And I'm sorry, when it's 110 degrees outside, we don't need to be saving any more daylight.
That's true. You guys need to get into the darkness as soon as possible. Just waste more daytime. In fact, get rid of all of it.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's all we had.
Yeah, because I can't remember the point I had for you.
And we covered it quite a bit. We got through, you guys cheating in only your second year in the conference. Got to find any way you can
Allegedly cheating
to try and get to the compete with those.
Allegedly.
Oh, hang on. Oh, will you be trying to get a passport to go? Oh, nice. You should see what Jason just tweeted you. That's fantastic, Jason.
I'm actually kind of concerned.
You should be, but I want to see the live reaction to this. Yep, even with the dead air, I'm just waiting for Mike to open his Twitter.
now I gotta see this tweet for myself too.
It's good stuff.
I look like
You look like a
Quasimodo.
giant. That's what you look like.
I do, but I also look like Quasimodo had sex with a goat.
Well, you look like that normally, and that is on the internet now forever. And I didn't say it. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna wrap this one up. Next week we should go back to covering the last teams that we have. Taking a look at the rosters. I think ASU is on that list. Right, Mike?
Just don't talk to me.
And then we'll, get to the regular season. So again, thank you for taking the time to join us. It was fun talking to you about what your school is doing that a lot of other schools are not.
Thank you for having me on once again.
Good luck to everybody in college hockey as we get here closer and as practices are going. Other than that, only one thing left to say. Flex on net. Good things happen like Go Horns and Fight Songs. Until next week, maybe. We're out of here.